Hey everybody, it's Glenn Depke, Depke Wellness, and I'm continuing the theme for the week tied into preventing brain disorders, neurodegeneration, the things that most people are afraid of as they get older, like developing things like dementia, Alzheimer's, ALS, or any kind of neurodegenerative issue. And believe me, I totally get it because, and that's something that really hits home for me because I had a grandmother that died with severe dementia, my mother died with severe dementia, my brother died with ALS, so that's really at the forefront for me, and so I really understand where you're coming from. Now with this, this whole sequence of what we're talking about through this week and next week is tied into things that you could do to prevent brain degeneration. I really truly believe that almost 100% of all of these issues can actually be avoided if you do things earlier in life to prevent those. So we talked earlier in the week about walking with an exaggerated arm swing. We talked just recently about things that you can do to stimulate your vagus nervous system activity. And today we're going to talk about something that's very important for your brain, and that's tied into sugar. So now I don't mean go ahead and go out and eat sugar because it's good for your brain. It's just tied into like really what goes on with sugar in your brain. Right, so the first thing when I'm talking about sugar, it's not always just like what we think of for sugar as refined sugar. What I'm really talking about here is glucose that is in your blood that actually has to be maintained at a very narrow range to keep your brain happy and healthy. And now in your body, pancreas specifically, you actually produce two different steroidal hormones, one called insulin, which you've probably heard of yourself, but the other one that you likely haven't heard of, which is called glucagon. Now the job of these two hormones is insulin is to remove sugar from your blood when it gets too high, but glucagon, the job of that is to put sugar in your blood when it gets too low. So and these two hormones, they really play off of each other basically to keep your blood sugar at a very, very narrow range, again, to keep your brain happy and healthy. So you might go through your day and recognize symptoms of either hyper or hypoglycemic type of symptoms. So like a hyperglycemic symptom could be that you're thirsty more than you normally would be. Maybe frequent urination. Maybe your vision becomes blurry, or you're getting headaches with some consistency. That's typical when somebody is in a hyperglycemic state. But when you're in a hypoglycemic state, often you have challenges such as, you just can't, you don't learn and memorize like you used to. Maybe you're not comprehending, you're not sleeping well, any kind of, or really even where your mood is dysregulated. It's hard to regulate your mood and just stay where you really want to be from a mood perspective. And these are all signs of that hypoglycemic state. And so when you find yourself challenged with the symptoms of either hyper or hypo, the one thing I tell you right now is your brain isn't happy. And if your brain's not happy, then you're not really preventing the neurodegeneration. You're setting yourself up for exactly what you don't want later in life. So make it a habit of really doing everything within your power to normalize blood sugar levels. So be careful of things like liquid sugar, whether it be soda or sugar in your drinks, or even something that you might think is healthy like fruit juices, where you think that, oh, I'm going to drink my glass of orange juice every day. Well, guess what? Yes, it's natural sugar, but it's still sugar. It still actually spikes your glucose, creates an overabundance of insulin, and then you go from that hyperglycemic reaction and you crash and burn into hypoglycemic reaction, and then and again, it goes back into your brain. So the other tip that I'll give you, besides for really restricting the liquid sugars, restricting the refined sugars and the processed carbohydrates as much as you can, but let's just be real. I mean, you live in this life and there's times where you're gonna have sugar, there's times where you're going to have some processed carbohydrates. So when you do, don't ever have them by themselves. Eat them with some fat and some protein, because that will actually slow down the release of the glucose and slow down the insulin reaction, so you don't have that hyper and hypo, that crash and burn afterwards, and that will actually help you keep your brain happy and healthy. So that's a tip for today. I look forward to really chatting with you more next week and sharing some more just really invaluable tips for you to help prevent neurodegeneration. So to make sure that you actually get these tips, go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit the little bell on the upper right. When you hit that little bell, that will give you a notification when I'm either doing a YouTube Live or when I've released a new video, because I know this is information that you want and you need. All right, everybody, take care. And if you have any comments or questions, leave those below and I will address those personally. Take care. Bye-bye.